If you'd like to increase your yield significantly as a bowl turner, an effective way to do it is with a bowl coring accessory, such as one of these two systems from Woodcut tools. In this video, let's see how these can help you turn more bowls from less wood. Turning wooden bowls with traditional tools produces a lot of waste, particularly from the interior of the bowl. If you turn bowls from start to finish with a gouge or carbide insert turning tools, you know that all of this interior area becomes wood chips instead of more bowls. Now, all this debris we make at the lathe when turning wooden bowls really isn't a problem. Maybe you've got more log chunks in your backyard than Paul Bunyan, or maybe you like to turn bedding for your chickens by hand. There's nothing wrong with wood shavings. But just imagine if the interior of the bowl could become this, and this, and maybe even more, depending upon how you turn. Multiple bowls from the same chunk of wood instead of all those extra shavings. Well, that's what you can do with a bowl coring system. Essentially, scoop out several bowls of decreasing size from the same bowl blank. Now, bowl coring systems aren't new and a number of manufacturers offer them, but let's take a closer look at two systems from New Zealand-based Woodcut tools. This is Woodcut's original BowlSaver. It's intended for mid-sized lathes of 1 horsepower or more with 12 to 16 inches of swing, like this Laguna 1524 lathe I have it mounted on here. And it comes with two sizes of steel blades. And this is Woodcut's larger and newer BowlSaver Max 4. It has 3 steel blades instead of 2, and it's intended for full-size lathes with 16 to 25 inches of swing and at least 2 horsepower. The BowlSaver Original and the BowlSaver Max 4 operate in the same basic way, but the Max 4 is larger in almost every regard with heavier duty components and more bowl turning capacity. The Original can remove a bowl blank up to 12 inches in diameter from the inside of a larger bowl. And the Max 4 will scoop out a bowl core up to 18 inches in diameter from a larger bowl blank. Let's take a closer look at the BowlSaver Original so you can see what the basic components of these two systems are and how they mount on the lathe. This large aluminum piece is called the base plate, and it's got a clamp on it that holds these 2 interchangeable knives. The base plate is actually 2 pieces that pivot past one another on this bolt. And that's so you can use this padded handle to drive the blade into a bowl blank at a set curvature and depth. After loosening a couple of Allen bolts on the clamp, the blades are interchangeable on the base plate. So you can choose the cutter that best suits the size of the bowl you're coring. And the tips of these curved blades have a 5/16 inch wide piece of stellite brazed to their ends. It's an alloy often used in the sawmill industry for blade tips. Woodcut says stellite offers smooth cutting, long operational life, and great wear resistance. The cutters can be touched up with a diamond stone when needed and even replaced if necessary. The base plate is mounted to a steel post that fits into your lathe's banjo and uses its clamp. Woodcut offers a number of different post sizes to suit various lathes. There's a stop collar on the post that you can adjust to set the knive's cutter even with the lathe's axis of rotation. Once this is set, you don't have to adjust it again if it's used on the same lathe. The fact that the base plate mounts to your lathe's banjo is really sensible. It ensures that these BowlSaver systems have a solid platform to withstand all this downward rotational torque that's applied to them during bowl coring. The adjustability of the banjo on the lathe bed also makes it easy to set the knife position for coring a bowl with the wall thickness you prefer, as well as setting the angle of attack that the knife makes into the wood. The back of the base plate also has this adjustable number 2 Morse taper that clamps to it. It provides a second anchor point between the tailstock and the base plate to stabilize it, preventing the base plate from shifting position during use. The BowlSaver Max 4 has a much longer number 2 Morse taper, as well as a threaded rod to provide extra support and stability that reduces vibration. So that covers the basic components of either the Woodcut original BowlSaver coring system or the BowlSaver Max 4. So let's head over to my larger 3 horsepower lathe and the BowlSaver Max 4. I'm going to use this setup to core a couple of bowls. Here I've got about a 17-inch diameter maple bowl blank, and I've already turned the exterior of it to the rough shape of the largest bowl I'll make with my bowl gouge. I'm also turning a large spigot, or dovetailed tenon, on the bottom of my blank. I'm doing that so I can mount the blank to my 4-jawed scroll chuck with a set of oversized jaws on it. Then I can install the chuck on the lathe's threaded spindle with the bowl blank's top side facing out. Now I can install the Max 4 and adjust the base plate and my lathe's banjo to set the thickness of what the wall for this first outer bowl is, as well as how thick I want the bottom of the bowl to be. This is green unseasoned maple and the bowl is very large. So I'm going to set its wall thickness at about 1.5 inches thick. That way I'll have plenty of material left to turn away after the bowl dries and warps so I can bring it back into round again. Now, as I said, I still need to figure out how thick I want the bottom of this bowl to be, so I have 2 different options for doing that. One is to use these cardboard templates that come with the BowlSavers. Each of these is sized to correspond to a specific knife diameter, and they measure from the center of the pivot bolt on the base plate to give you an idea of where the inside of the bottom of the bowl will be. Or I can use this optional light guide accessory. The light guide accessory includes a battery-powered red laser that fits into a pivoting guide arm with holes on top that equal the diameters of the various BowlSaver knife sizes. Pivoting the laser over my bowl blank will show me the arc the knife will cut, as well as where it will end up at the bottom of the bowl. This way, I don't have to guess at the bowl's bottom thickness, and I can make adjustments to the setup as needed before I start coring. So now I've got my tailstock in position on that number 2 Morse taper. I've got my threaded rod installed, locking everything together, and of course I'm going to wear a face shield to protect myself, so I'm ready to make that first coring cut. Now this is a torque-demanding, heavy-duty cut, so I'm only going to set my lathe to about 400 RPM. The goal of the coring cut is to slowly advance the knife into the bowl blank without stalling the lathe, overwhelming the cutter, or breaking the bowl blank spigot that holds it on the scroll chuck. So that means pushing the handle of the BowlSaver gently but firmly into the cut while closely watching the channel the blade is cutting. When shavings stop pouring out, and this will happen frequently, it's time to withdraw the cutter to clear it, then resume the cut. The difficulty of this cutting process will increase when the knife changes direction from cutting largely long grain fibers to end grain. If all goes well, it generally takes less than about 5 minutes to advance the knife to the bottom of the bowl. Woodcut recommends going easy on the feed pressure, letting the cutter do the cutting, and clearing the shavings as much as necessary until the bowl you're coring out just about breaks free of the larger outer bowl. At this point in the cut, I've worked the cutter around far enough so there's not much left that's holding that inner core in place, so I'm going to remove it by hand. And there we go, our first cored bowl. The wall of this largest bowl is thicker than I want it to be near the bottom, so I'm taking a bit of time to thin the wall and bottom more evenly with my bowl gouge. So that's it for big bowl number 1. Now it's time to make 1 or 2 more from this inner core piece that's left. To do that, I first need to return a new spigot on the bottom of the core and remount it in the scroll chuck. For this second bowl, I'm going to mount the medium-sized knife in the Max 4 instead, because its curvature and size better suits the amount of wood I have left. Then I can reset the base plate's position and angle of attack for the thinner wall and bottom I want on this second smaller bowl. Again, the laser light can help me find the best position for the knife to travel. And now I can core out bowl 2. Making this cut is exactly the same as for the first bowl. But since the bowl blank is smaller and lighter, I can raise the speed of my lathe by a few hundred RPM, which actually helps the cutting process go more quickly. Again, I need to remember not to push too hard and let the blade do the work. The species of wood, its dryness, and the torque capacity of your lathe's motor all will affect how easy these cuts are to make. Well, the coring process is done on the second bowl, and this core is just about breaking free. So I think I can get it out by hand. Yep. All right, that's bowl number 2. And I think I can get a third bowl out of what's left. To do that, I'll start with a new spigot, switch to the smallest blade in the Max 4, and repeat the whole cutting process again to core it out. Coring bowls with either of these Woodcut BowlSaver coring systems reduces wasted wood, ups your bowl yield considerably, and is just plain fun to do. And you'll really appreciate the economy of it all if wood is in short supply or if you're turning one-of-a-kind burls or expensive exotics. If you have a mid to full-size lathe of at least 1 horsepower or more, one of these 2 systems could unlock this potential. Woodcut Tools offers a number of instructive videos on their website, woodcut-tools.com, that cover the bowl coring process in great detail, so be sure to check those out. And to learn more about Woodcut's original BowlSaver or BowlSaver Max 4, visit woodcut-tools.com or rockler.com. I'm Chris Marshall with Woodworkers Journal Magazine and Rockler, and thanks for watching.